Good morning.
Good morning.
Woo-hoo. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. My name is Molly Mae Culligan, and I am today's worship associate. I'm a tall woman. I wear glasses and hearing aids, and I have blue fingernails and blue earrings, and I'm wearing a sweater knitted by one of my favorite people. Hello, Zoom friends. We are really glad you're here. Our tech team is going to drop a copy of today's worship service into the chat for you right now. For those who are with us here in the sanctuary, there will be a time later during our service to silently honor our joys and sorrows of our community by lighting a candle or dropping a rock in water. During this time, we will read from the Joys and Sorrows book, so this is a reminder that you can get up and write in the book at any time during the service. As always, you are welcome to get up, move your body, light a candle, drop a stone. We are happy that Rev Jen is joining us online as our Zoom chaplain. For those on Zoom, feel free to drop your joys and sorrows at any time. For all of our first-time visitors, is there anybody out there here for the first time? Oh, wow. Wow, that's awesome. So every service is a little bit different. So we like to just kind of welcome you to come a few times, right? Come a few times and see what you think, and we hope you stay. After the service, please stay for coffee. Our welcoming room is over there in the south foyer. It's a place for both longtime and new members to just meet and greet each other. At 11:30 in the foyer, the membership team and our director of religious education will lead a discussion about religious education. And later at 2 this afternoon, you are invited to come back for coffee, cake, and conversation during our Death Cafe. Death Cafes are a time to explore open conversations or questions about death and grief. You can also learn more there about our upcoming Bringing Our Values to End-of-Life Choices class, which starts next month. And now, let us enter into a time of worship by lighting the flaming chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. I've invited Heidi to light the chalice today. This is a house of reflection and contemplation, of joy and sorrow, friendship, sharing, and laughter. We light this chalice in remembrance of what we have been and in the hope of what we may become. And now I would like to invite Chris Topaz to the front for our land acknowledgement.
Good morning. Our land acknowledgement is an act of remembering, an act of repair, an act of accountability, an act of acknowledgement and atonement. Let us take a moment to reflect upon this place where we gather. Let us recall that this is stolen ancestral land of the Chimalaya and Chiffin bands of the Kalapuya people, whose descendants still live among us. For time out of mind, indigenous people lived here along the Willamette River, maintaining the diverse oak savanna ecosystem through careful land management based on their deep understanding of and a sense of kinship with the world around them. White American settlers and colonizers decimated entire villages with disease, forcibly laid claim to the land, and brutally removed the Kalapuya people, along with over 30 other tribes, to now what are the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians. The attempts to destroy Native culture continued through the banishment of languages, broken treaties, and the separation of children from their families, sent to boarding schools where children were abused and traumatized. Today, There are several ongoing efforts in our region to revitalize languages, restore land and water rights, cultivate indigenous arts and sciences, and reestablish the sovereignty of Native tribes. Let those of us who occupy this land resolve together to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. May we do our part to steward this land. May we continue to strengthen our relationship with our indigenous neighbors.
Good morning. My name is Ember. I use they, them pronouns. I serve as our intern minister, and I am an all-around medium human with my hair down in a black wrap. Let us take a moment to settle into this space, breathing deeply and caring for our bodies as we gather. This week, I have felt tired. I have felt exhaustion in my bones, and I've reminded myself that that feeling means that I have not gone numb. Even in our weariness, we are here together, holding what is hard, creating room for transformation, and finding courage in the strength of community. We name the grief we carry, a grief that touches the earth, the air, the waters, and all that we love. Let us worship together, making space for healing, for understanding, and for renewal. A reminder that we are still in pledge season. If you did not get your pledge packet, please see Rev Jen at this table in the sanctuary after service. And I would like to invite Susan Oldman to the front for a From the Heart testimonial. Yeah, this one.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. My name is Susan Oldland, and I use the pronouns she and her. I'm a slightly more than middle-aged, curvilinear white woman with long graying hair, and I'm wearing a teal sweater and black pants. When Rev Jen asked me to speak today about why I give my time, talents, and treasures to this amazing place, she asked me to share a 2-minute testimony. 2 minutes? I mean, I'll try, but I'm a UU after all. I considered a bullet list, or maybe just an expanded bullet or two, and now I'm wasting time telling you about my thought process. Again, a UU. So I'll just use one word: community. I had never had a place in my life where I knew I was with community until I joined my first UU church in Sacramento 23 years ago, just after the towers fell. And the Buddhist minister there was speaking a truth I wasn't hearing anywhere else. When my husband Corey and I moved to Eugene in 2007, we found UUCE and attended off and on over the years. But something clicked in 2017, and I became a steady, active, and enthusiastic member. I've been honored to wear many hats over the last 6 or 7 years. First participating and assisting with small group circles, shout out to my group circle people now, food justice programs, and the Financial Oversight and Review Committee. Then in 2020, just after COVID closed our doors, I joined the Board of Trustees. In that capacity, I served as a member at large for a year, your treasurer for 2 years, and often putting in many long hours. Sometimes it wasn't the most fun ever. But I had to put down all of my hats in 2023 after 3 years of leadership service and several challenging life events. The hospice and death of my father. Almost made it. My own diagnosis of cancer, followed by surgery and recovery, and other personal and major family illnesses and drama, life. I mostly stayed in touch via Zoom, but last year when my mother had a stroke and a series of other life-threatening health issues that lasted several months, caring for her consumed my life. I felt overwhelmed and unable to be present, and I disappeared. But UUCE did not disappear. It grew and blossomed into this amazing community and true sanctuary for everyone. During my absence, you reached out and asked me how I was doing. I am so grateful you had my back. And I knew I could return when I was ready, without questions or judgment. So I'm back, and I'm so grateful to be back, especially in these times. I've put my small group circle and food justice hats back on and added a few more: refugee sanctuary, occasional coffee and soup maker, dishwasher. When my mom was recovered enough to come with Corey and me to the Thanksgiving potluck this last November, Rev Jen saw us and made a beeline to us with the biggest smile and said, "You must be Susan's mom. I'm so happy to meet you." Later that night, my mom was remembering her day and asked me who that very nice lady was. My community, you are awesome. I love you.
The experience of systemic grief arises when we recognize the profound interconnectedness of human actions and their consequences, spanning not only environmental harm, but also social and cultural losses. Hayao Miyazaki's Princess Mononoke captures this loss of trusted systems, portraying a world where industrial expansion threatens the delicate balance of a sacred, interconnected existence. This grief is not just personal, it is shared and systemic, reflecting the overwhelming weight of living in a world where harm feels inevitable. Systemic grief is the sorrow that arises from witnessing the collapse of systems that once sustained life and connection, leaving a sense of loss that is both personal and collective. In Princess Mononoke, this grief unfolds against the backdrop of a fractured world where the balance between humanity and nature is threatened by industrial expansion. Ashitaka, cursed while protecting his village, journeys to seek understanding and atonement, crossing into a land where humans and forest spirits are locked in a violent struggle. Sam, raised by wolves and deeply tied to the forest, fights fiercely against the destruction wrought by human encroachment, embodying the raw anger and desperation of a world under siege. Meanwhile, Ashitaka approaches the conflict with a quiet resolve, the personal toll of his curse pulling him into resignation. This battle takes place against the backdrop of Irontown, where Lady Eboshi has created a sanctuary for marginalized groups like freed brothel girls and lepers, yet she wages a relentless war on the forest to fuel her ambitions. There is complexity in every character's motivations as this conflict threatens to pull them all into despair. The overwhelming nature and scale of this grief is compounded by a sense of helplessness, as the vast scale of a crisis touches every aspect of life, and this enormity can leave us paralyzed. This grief is not something we create, but something we carry, and it often emerges in forms like anger and numbness, and it is a grief many of us share. This grief, when allowed to be felt and processed, has the power to propel us forward. And unlike despair, which can immobilize, grief carries an urgency born of love for what is being lost, what has been lost, and what remains. It stirs a desire to protect and to preserve and to fight for for what is still alive and sacred. And while grief in its many forms can often stir us to action, urging us to make a difference, whether through personal growth, social advocacy, or collective transformation, grief does not always have a neat resolution. There is no right timeline, and the ability to heed it as a call to action does not undo the very real harm we are emotionally responding to. Knowing that there is a reality where the grief feels a little less large does not negate our hearts breaking. And if left unprocessed, this grief breeds despair or numbness, states that leave us disconnected from ourselves, each other, and our wider world. The most vital truth is that we don't carry this weight alone. You are not alone, and when you are ready, we stand together, ready to support each other through our healing process. And I know how hard it is to sit in our bodies right now. But I also know that energy, even heavy energy, yearns to be released. We are here today because there is power in finding spaces and places where we are held. You are held in this community. Showing up today in any form is an act of incredible courage. And it is through this reframing of grief as a call to action rather than a collapse that we begin to move toward renewal. As we hold space for both sorrow and possibility, we open ourselves to transformation, honoring the losses that shape us, while finding ways to nurture what endures. In this balance lies the ongoing work of healing, not a return to what was, but a step toward what might be. The ending of Princess Mononoke leaves us with an ambiguous resolution, where healing begins, but full restoration has not been accomplished. After the intense conflict, Ashitaka steps into the role of mediator, halting the immediate destruction and offering the possibility of repair. San, though unable to forgive the humans for their actions, finds herself able to coexist a little more comfortably in a world she now cautiously shares with them. The forest bears scars, and the consequences of human industrialization continue to haunt the land. The film refuses to present a simplistic return to an untouched past, acknowledging that some wounds cannot be undone. Instead, emphasizing that healing is an ongoing process. And with all of Miyazaki's works, Princess Mononoke could only be fully realized in a medium of animation, which allows the story to transcend the limitations of physical reality. The fantastical elements, such as a forest god with 100 faces and no face, a forest that fights back, and the visual power of life and death in a cycle, the film illustrates an act of transformation that would be impossible to convey in any other form. As humans, our bodies hold no ability to shatter and rain down healing. What we do possess, however, is the ability to name and feel what is already present within us. In Princess Mononoke, the world teems with transformative energies that blur the boundaries between the divine, the natural, and the human. In times of overwhelming grief and loss, it can be easy to succumb to despair, believing that we are trapped in a single unchanging narrative. But we must remember that we too are part of a living narrative, one that is not defined by any singular beginning, middle, or end. Even through the overwhelm we are collectively experiencing, we are also empowered by our ability to create new chapters. Grief and love are forces that shape our response to the world, connecting us to the earth and to one another. As we allow ourselves to release grief, we honor not only the need for emotional expression, but the essential right of our emotional bodies to exist. Grief is not something that needs to be earned, nor is it a weight to be carried alone. It is a natural part of our human experience, one that when acknowledged creates space. We recognize that our emotional bodies possess just as much inherent worth and dignity as our physical and spiritual ones, existing in constant dialogue. When we honor our emotional bodies, we reclaim the grace to face difficult challenges with compassion, hope, and an unwavering commitment to our communities, ourselves, and each other. Amen, and blessed be. I was a little worried about leaving us too deep in the sad for too long, but but you did it, we're almost there, and we are gonna do a somatic meditation together to release some of those feelings we've maybe brought up today. So as we settle into this sacred space, I invite you to get comfortable, allowing your body to be supported by the chair beneath you, your feet connecting with a solid surface and the air that surrounds us. Gently close your eyes or soften your gaze while your breath flows in and out, bringing gentle life to the body that holds you. And in this moment, I invite you to bring your awareness inward, recognizing the grief you hold, we hold, as you are held in this space. A reminder that after the service, we invite you to join us for our Death Cafe in the social hall, where you can connect with others and talk about these topics. UUCE also hosts a number of grief support groups, and a reminder that pastoral care happens in a variety of ways. You are always welcome to reach out to your lay pastors and your ministers. So please check our calendars, find other local calendars, find your people, reach out, and please listen to your body following the service and check in with yourself, whether it's time for coffee and conversation, or if you still need a little space. The sanctuary will remain open for about 30 minutes as a brief listening circle for anyone who needs it. And now, bring your attention to your body. Beginning at the top of your head, slowly scan your body, moving down your spine, rolling down your arms, rolling down the rest of your spine into your hips, into your legs, and down into your feet, like a steady stream flowing through a landscape. Notice any areas of tension or discomfort where the weight of grief may have settled. Perhaps you feel pressure in your chest, like the burden of the world, or tightness in your shoulders. Let your breath be the soft air, moving through these sensations without the need to change them. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. And as you inhale, imagine the rise of your chest and abdomen filling with the energy of renewal. As you exhale, feel a release like a cool breeze dispersing the remnants of a storm. Feel the flow of your breath as if the air is carrying you, spreading your grief out across an open sky. And now, bring your attention to your feet. Imagine them anchoring deeply into the earth, drawing the support and steadiness of the ground beneath you. With each breath, allow any heaviness to move downward through your feet into the earth, where it is transformed like rainwater filtering through soil. Take a moment to feel the weight of your body held and supported. As you ground yourself, feel strength beneath you, steady and enduring, and know that in this moment you are held in whatever you are releasing. And now, slowly, open your palms facing upward in a gesture of both receiving and letting go. Imagine releasing your grief into your palms, letting it rest there gently, like a stone in the bed of a river. And with each exhale, feel the weight soften and dissipate, the stone rolling out of your hand. As you release, invite space for renewal, healing, and hope to enter. And finally, I invite you to stand slowly, in body or in spirit. And as you rise, take a deep breath and gently lift your arms overhead, being aware of your neighbor, reaching for the sky, as though you are drawing energy from above you, from the air around you, and hold them there for a moment, noticing any tension or resistance. And as you exhale, allow that resistance to roll down your shoulders and down your back as you lower your hands, allowing any tightness to melt away. And as we sit back down, take a moment to check in with how your body feels now. Allow the earth beneath you to anchor and support you as you let go, clearing space for fresh energy to flow in with each breath. Remember that grief is a journey. It is a flow, and it is not something we are meant to fix, but to honor and witness. Know that your grief is welcome here, and you are worthy of healing and renewal. As we close this meditation, offer a moment of gratitude to your body, your breath, and the collective energy of this space, knowing that like the air and the sky, we are always in a process of transformation. As we journey together, may we make space for both sorrow and joy, trusting that the release of grief unfolds in its own time. May we gather strength from one another, knowing that our actions, both large and small, help us move forward with compassion and unwavering dedication to the future we create. Amen, and blessed be. And please now join me in our chalice extinguishing, provided we find a snuffer. Thank you, Augie. We extinguish this flame. We found the snuffer. And please say our chalice extinguishing with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.